Hey everyone, my name is Leila and today I want to show you my 15 loudest fragrances that I have in my collection. And when I say loud, I mean these fragrances have like a nuclear performance in terms of the projection. That means they have a projection much more than arm length, and these are the fragrances that not only you can smell from yourself, but the people around you can definitely smell. For some people this is an attractive moment, and they love fragrances like this, especially here in the Middle East. This is a part of the culture and this is absolutely normal. But for some people this is something they are trying to avoid, and like this is a negative character of the fragrance, and you know, this is like some type of warning for them. So I believe that this video will be useful for both groups. Tell me, by the way, which group you belong to. Do you like loud fragrances, or opposite, you're trying to avoid loud fragrances? I'll be very happy to read your comments. I want to start with a fragrance that inspired me to make this video because I bought it recently and I realized how loud it is. I'm talking about Haramain fragrance. This is an Arabic brand, and as I said, for Arabic brands, this is very typical to make a very potent and loud fragrances. So this is one of them. This is Haramain Amber Oud Gold Edition. I have already Amber Oud Tobacco Edition. I love this fragrance, but this is Gold Edition. The bottle looks like this, and it's again quite a nice and well-made bottle. Quite minimalistic for Arabic brand, I would say. And this is an interesting fragrance that, but at the same time, I must admit, it has quite popular DNA, and I can't say that this is something very unique, and I have never ever smelled anything like this. I think this is quite a popular DNA. It is very easy to wear type of fragrance in terms of the scent profile, because this is fruity, a bit fresh, definitely sweet, and very, very musky, clean, I would say, type of scent that you can wear year-round. So this can be somewhere signature scent. However, again, it lacks the character, it lacks the uniqueness that I'm looking in the fragrances. Though I don't regret that I bought this, because I don't have fragrances like that in my collection, and I'm happy that I have it. More than that, I can imagine that I can definitely layer this fragrance with something else. I need to try, I need to, you know, practice, and I'll see. But definitely what I can tell you about this fragrance, it's very loud, and it's very potent, and it's very noticeable, and it lasts forever. Again, all the fragrances I'm talking today in the Fragrantica scale of the sillage and the longevity, they have the very last grade, you know, they are like, they have a nuclear performance in this term. So this is one of them. Again, I don't regret that I bought this fragrance, and I'm very happy that I have something like this, because I don't have anything with this scent profile, and the most probably I'll be layering this fragrance. By the way, people say this is very similar to Erba Pura by Sospiro, and if we mention Sospiro, the next fragrance is from Sospiro, and this is an old fragrance. It's called Capriccio. This is another very opulent, I would say, and loud fragrance that I love, and I bought it blindly. This is, for me, something that combines all the feminine fragrances all together, and it combines two very unique but at the same time quite popular DNAs, because these two fragrances are iconic fragrances, I would say. I think that this is a mixture of Ange by Thierry Mugler and Narciso Rodriguez for her Eau de Toilette in a black brick bottle. I love this mixture, and by the way, I tried to layer those two fragrances, and I can say this is a very good combination, definitely. I must say that this fragrance is very, very loud, very long lasting. It definitely has that red berry red berries plus patchouli combination from Ange by Terenzi Mea. Plus, it definitely has that white floral and musky aspect of Narciso Rodriguez for her EDT. So for me, this is like a femininity in a bottle. It's quite musky. It has definitely patchouli. It has a bit of sweetness. I believe it has some coumarin or tonka beans. But altogether, this is an adorable fragrance. I love it. It's quite mature. I don't see this on young girls. This is an amazing addition to my collection and I love it. I don't see this fragrance for hot weather. However, I can imagine this fragrance year-round except those very hot days. It performs like a nuclear bomb, so be careful. For me, you know, I like fragrances that are loud. The only thing that I always take into consideration is the venue, the place where I go. Everything depends on the dosage, because if you know that this fragrance is very loud and you're going to the place that will be like close premises, like it's there will be lots of people around, you might bother with your fragrance. You just need just a tiny bit, a tiny spray, like a micro dose of these fragrances, and you will be absolutely fine. You will not bother anyone. However, if I know that I'll be on the open air and the you know, weather is quite good and it's quite cool, I can not overspray, but at least I can spray 2 to 3 times, and I'm absolutely fine. And again, I don't bother anyone. So with these fragrances, the dosage is the key, I would say. The next fragrance that is very, very loud for me, this is the old formula, the old version of Oud Bouquet from Maison Lancome. It looks like this, and I think everyone knows this fragrance because, you know, it's very popular also. The DNA is very popular. This is the mixture of oud, rose with a very smoky, I would even say grilled marshmallow. Like, it's like if you're sitting somewhere by the fireplace and you have lots of roses growing around you. Probably it's a wood that has that small rose garden, and you're, you know, frying the marshmallows, grilling marshmallows on the fire, on the campfire, and you smell the smoke of the fire with this grilled marshmallows plus rose plus woody smell. So altogether, this is I would say gourmand, like borderline gourmand floral, very beautiful fragrance. I love it, I adore it, and I can tell that when I spray it, I can smell it all day long. Not like when I just move, I can smell the whiffs. No, even when I stand still, I can still smell this fragrance, like all the rest I will be talking today about. So very nice fragrance, highly recommended if you like Middle Eastern. It's definitely very oriental type of fragrance, but I would say it's very well adopted to the European nose as well. But again, really, really nice. I love it. The next fragrance is from Moresque, and this is a fragrance about honey. It's called Sandal Granada, or Sandal Granada, because it's it has lots of sandalwood, but at the same time it has lots of honey. It has also a leathery aspect. It's quite sweet. It's very sweet. Like, I would say it's like honey, it's sweet. Well, I would say this is a very dark honey mixed with a bit of leather, a bit of oud, but oud here is more like woody rather than oudy. It has just a tiny bit of animalic aspect because of the honey, I believe, and leather mixed together. It's very unique. It's very unique and very beautiful, but at the same time, it's absolutely unisex, I would say. Probably men will enjoy this more than women because it's quite leathery, and they might say this is a bit more masculine than feminine. But anyway, I think this is very unique and quite rare fragrance. I don't see this fragrance in other people's collections, but it's a very, you know, it worth all the money. By the way, it wasn't that expensive. It was about 100 and probably around $100 online. I believe this is an old fragrance. I think it's from 2017. Maybe it's already discontinued. That's why it was in the discount. But it's really nice. And again, the performance and the loudness. It's a nuclear type of fragrance. It has the longest possible sillage. So I see this fragrance because it's that sweet and that dark and sensual. I think it's quite sexy. I see this mostly for winter and autumn. For me, this is very autumnal story, The next fragrance that I adore and I love, it's one of my favorite fragrances from Amouage. This is Imitation, and this one is all about black currant and aldehydes plus some floral notes. I believe it has ylang ylang. I think it's sweet. It's definitely sweet, fresh, very fruity. This is one of the most realistic, I would say, interpretation of the black currants in the perfumery. Very realistic, very photorealistic. Plus, it's very cold because of the aldehydes. Because of the aldehydes, this fragrance is sweet, but at the same time fresh, and at the same time very unique. Probably it also has patchouli, maybe, but this is a sillage monster. First of all, it has the longest possible sillage, and it is a projection monster, and it is very loud, extremely loud. Like, it fills the whole, not only room, it can fill the whole house. So amazing creation by Amouage that I wear year round. By the way, I wear it during the hot weather as well because of those aldehydes. They bring this coldness, this cold fresh air into this perfume. The next fragrance from Amouage is my all-time favorite. This is Amouage Memoir, and I think this is the best fragrance for meditation. It's quite an introvert type of fragrance, and this fragrance is all about the incense, woody notes, warm wood. It has oak moss because it's quite dark. This is an incensey, dark, at the same time sweet and very, very woody, with a tiny bit of castoreum, but it's not the type of castoreum that bothers. No, it just adds beauty to this fragrance. It's, as I said, it's a fragrance for yourself. However, recently I decided to wear it when I went to the mall, and I enjoyed it a lot, like a lot. I could smell it from myself. It's very easy to smell fragrance, even the one that has average performance, when you are at home, and it's quite easy to smell it from yourself in the in the small premises and when you are at home. But when you go outside and when you go to the mall with a lot of other fragrances flying in the air, and it's quite difficult to smell your own perfume. But this is a type of fragrances that you will smell anywhere. It doesn't matter where you go, So, very beautiful fragrance. Highly recommend you if you can still find it. I don't know, probably it was discontinued. This is a total unisex, and I sometimes even know that men enjoy it even more than women. So, even if you are a man, try this. I believe you might like this one. Another fragrance that I find absolutely unisex, but leaning probably more to the masculine side, is from Histoires de Parfums, and this is Fidelis from the collection Rare. Sorry. Yes, this fragrance is all about oud, and I think this is one of the most unique oud fragrances that I have in my collection, and this is very concentrated oud. It smells very realistic, by the way. It smells like a natural oud. It's mixed with rose, raspberry. I think it has a little bit of saffron. It has coffee note. It has some roasted spices and nuts that I can smell here. Probably it's the coffee accord that adds that nuttiness and this roasted feeling, like fried spices feeling to this fragrance. Very unique, very beautiful, very loud, very potent, very strong. I can see this fragrance mostly on a cold weather. It's I cannot imagine wearing this fragrance during the summertime because it will choke you. It definitely will. So nice one, but unfortunately also discontinued, but probably it's still available online. Another my treasure that I have, and I love it already for many years. I don't know, I bought this fragrance long time ago, even before I started, you know, collecting fragrances, like 2-3 years before I started collecting fragrances. And this is an Arabic brand. It's called Anfasic Dokhoon, and the name of the fragrance is Wow. And this is raspberry leather bomb, I would say. Oh, it's so beautiful. It's amazing. I can smell saffron here, though I believe saffron is not mentioned. It's oud, what it's mentioned, oud, raspberry and leather, but I can smell their saffron as well. It's very beautiful. It smells like gold. It smells like money. You know, it's amazing, very well done, very round, and you can smell the very expensive ingredients in this fragrance. It smells like a very expensive leather bag. This, you know, maroon color probably. In terms of performance, I'll just tell you the way how I bought this fragrance. I got it on a blotter because the stalls of the Anfasic Dokhoon are everywhere in the malls. I was in Dubai Mall. I was given the blotter. I liked it. I put it in my bag. When I came back home, I just you know, took everything out from my bag on the bed, and I just left the room. When I entered the room was filled with this mesmerizing and amazing smell. And this is how I, you know, rushed to the store and I bought a full bottle, though it was quite expensive for me, who never bought anything like this. Like, I never spent that much money for the fragrance. It was more than 500 dirhams, I believe. Like, it's what was more than $100, definitely like around $150. But I fell in love with this fragrance that much that I was ready to pay this money, and I don't regret. You see, so many years passed, I still have half of bottle left. Another fragrance that has a nuclear performance, again, it's like, you know, the loudest possible fragrance probably in my whole entire collection. This is Montale, but this is not like any other Montales. This is Montale Intense Black Oud. And the Black Oud is already quite an intense fragrance, quite a loud fragrance, but this is an intense version. I love the DNA of this fragrance. I have also Black to Black, which is quite similar to this fragrance. However, unfortunately, I believe I didn't know that when I purchased this one. This is saffron, rose, leather, oud, and patchouli, I believe. This is what I can smell in this fragrance. It's very similar to Black to Black. I think this one performs even better than Black to Black. Black to Black used to be very, you know, concentrated and very loud and very long lasting. It had a very good performance before, but not anymore, unfortunately. However, if you love that Black to Black DNA, and if you're looking for a better performance, definitely try this one, the Black Oud from Intense Black Oud from Montale, and I believe you will like the performance, definitely. The next fragrance that I was wearing recently, and I adore it, I loved it. It was So Patchouli from Vertus, and I was wearing this fragrance. I could smell it from very morning till the time when I woke up the next day. So it was like more than 12 hours, like it was almost 24 hours. I could smell this fragrance from myself, and this is an amazing patchouli fragrance. It's a bit medicinal in the start, I must warn you, but don't be scared with that medicinal aspect. It's gone within 10 to 15 minutes, and even that, you know, medicinal aspect is very attractive to me. It smells really good for me, and it has a tiny bit of powdery aspect as well. It has some sweetness from the marshmallow. It's mentioned in the in the list of notes. However, I can smell like a tonka beans type of sweetness here, but patchouli here are gorgeous. They are gorgeous, and this is a very high quality juice, I would say. Beautiful, beautiful fragrance that I highly recommend for everyone who loves patchouli. It doesn't matter if it's man or woman. This is very androgenic type of fragrance. It suits everyone. If you're a patchouli lover, then so patchouli, the most probably you will like this fragrance, because it's not only about patchouli, it's also about like powdery notes. It's also about just a tiny bit of sweetness. It has, I believe, some animalic aspect, but I don't feel it here. I think it has some mimosa mentioned in the notes. I can't smell mimosa here, frankly speaking, but altogether, anyway, I would say this is 10 out of 10 fragrance for me, definitely. With, again, with a nuclear loudness and performance. That's why I advise you to, you know, be very careful with the dosage. Like, it requires only micro dose. The next fragrance is from designer brand, and this is from Kenzo. This is Jungle Elephant. I love the bottle. It's stunning. I like this elephant a lot. However, I cannot say that I'm a big fan of the fragrance itself. It is quite specific to me. By the way, this fragrance reminds me the time when I just started collecting fragrances. This one was one of the first fragrances I bought. Like, it's already 3 years, I believe. And it's beautiful. I must admit, it's beautiful. It reminds me, by the way, the Spice Bazaar here in Emirates, because it has lots of clove, cardamom, it has cumin. I think it has tonka beans, probably, or probably it's vanilla because it's a bit sweet. It has amber, it has patchouli. Altogether, this is very, very spicy, warm, and it's very oriental to my taste. Like, it's definitely oriental type of fragrance that you might love in case if you like spices. If you like cumin, if you like cloves, then most probably you will like this fragrance. It's really nice. It's very unique, I would say. I can't smell anything like this nowadays, though it might remind you of 2000s, probably 90s. I believe this is an old fragrance. However, it's timeless. Again, I think it's timeless. It's gorgeous, and it has also a very, you know, noticeable start, and it lasts all day long. It's quite a performer, I would say. The next fragrance is also about patchouli, and this is Mea Culpa from Quinto Canto by Paolo Terenzi. It's another brand of Paolo Terenzi, and again, as a patchouli lover, I love this fragrance. It also has quite a medicinal start, but again, don't be afraid of that start. It smells completely different, by the way, from the Sol Patchouli by Vertus. These are completely different patchoulis. This is a bit more earthy. It's a bit damp. It's a bit wet. It's more chocolatey type of patchouli. It has some ambery aspect, I believe. It's a bit sweet. It's a bit powdery. It has a bit of vanilla underneath. It's also balsamic. I can smell it has that balsamic aspect to it, and it's also a little bit boozy. It's enormously loud, especially in the start. It is the monster of projection. It is the monster of sillage. It is like, you know, just extremely loud fragrance. Be careful. I'm warning you. So this is not a safe blind buy, definitely. I would say it is even more controversial than Sol Patchouli. Sol Patchouli is a crowd pleaser, but Mea Culpa is more controversial and less safe blind buy, I would say. And another patchouli fragrance that I adore, and I cannot imagine my life without this fragrance, and I've spoken about this fragrance many times on my channel. This is Patchouli Intense from Patricia de Nicolai, and this is completely different type of patchouli other than the Sol Patchouli by Vertus or Mea Culpa from Quinto Canto. This is completely different, and I have never ever smelled this type of patchouli in my life, because this is green and fresh patchouli. This is soapy patchouli. It's not earthy at all. It has a geranium note, it has a lavender, it has some tonka beans. I believe because I can smell some sweetness here. This is a year-round type of fragrance. This is androgenic type of fragrance, like absolutely unisex. I can see it easily on men and women equally. I know that men adore this fragrance. I know that women adore this fragrance. It might have just a tiny bit of old school aspect for you, but I love it. For me, this is the sign of quality, you know. It's made from the highest quality ingredients, and it was made with a you know, with the respect to the classical French perfumer school, because it was made by Patricia de Nicolai, and she is the part of Guerlain's family, and she knows all those traditions, and she respects them and she follows them. It has nuclear performance, as I said. It spreads everywhere. It's very diffusing type of fragrance, so be careful, don't overspray, definitely. And the next fragrance is from Mancera, and this is Red Tobacco, and I think this is my favorite fragrance from this brand. I have many others, but I would say this is my favorite. Oh, it's so good. For me, this is sour cherry, tobacco, a bit of honey probably, spicy, a bit of saffron, but altogether it's like an autumn in the bottle. This is like a, if there is a chart for autumn fragrances, like autumnal fragrances, I would say this is number one. It's a really nuclear, especially on the start. It's like a bomb. So be very careful. You can choke people, and I mostly wear this when I go outside, when the weather is cool, and I spend the whole day outside when I know that I will eat outside. Like I will not go inside the you know, the restaurant. The most of the time I'll spend on the fresh air. Then I use this fragrance. It's amazing and totally androgynous, totally unisex. My husband loves it. We use both together. And the last but not least for today is the fragrance from Givenchy, and this is also a designer brand. It's Ange de Mont, Angel and Demon from Givenchy, and for me this is also very, very loud fragrance, but it's beautiful, it's gorgeous. For me it's a bit dusty. I can smell, it's like a lemon powder, I would say, mixed with tonka beans, with vanilla. It has yellow notes. It definitely has some saffron and ylang ylang. That's why this fragrance is like, it's yellow color, it's bright, it's like the bottom of this bottle. But it has, it's like, this should be like this, I think. This is how it smells. The top of the fragrance is very yellow, it's bright, it's sunny. But then when it dries down, it becomes darker and darker, because it has an oak moss on the bottom. And it's gorgeous. It's like a lemon pie with a dark, maybe even burned crust. This is how I can see this fragrance. It has definitely gourmand aspect because it's very vanillic and sweet, but at the same time it's very lemony, though the lemon is not mentioned in the list of notes. I think it's a mandarin orange that is mentioned, but I can smell lemon here definitely, probably because of this yellow aspect it has from saffron and ylang ylang, but definitely I can smell lemon here. Amazing fragrance, a bit powdery, maybe a bit from 2000s, but I love the fragrances from 2000s, and for me this is just the, you know, the positive aspect. For me it's something that attracts me to buy rather than, you know, repels me. So that's all for today. I showed you my all 15 fragrances, the loudest ones, and I hope this was useful, and in case if you are attracted to fragrances like this, or even if you're repelled by the fragrances like this, I think this information was quite useful. If it was useful, if you liked today's video, please don't forget to support me with your thumbs up. I'll be very happy. If you have any of today's fragrances, please let me know what do you think about them. I'll be very happy to know your opinion. And if you have any suggestions and you have some very loud fragrances in your collection that you can recommend because they are gorgeous, I'll be very happy to read your comments again and your recommendations, because sometimes these comments can help you to find fragrances that you are looking for, or maybe you don't even know about them. Sometimes you guys write me about the fragrances that are very unique, and I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. If you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, I invite you to do so. Don't forget to press that notification bell to be notified about my next release. I try to publish videos every Saturday. If you are curious about what new bottles I got that I haven't yet showed in my videos on YouTube, please join my Instagram and follow me there if you're curious. And as always, I want to wish you all the best for the forthcoming week. Have an amazing weekend, and I hope to see you in my next video as always. See you guys, bye.